Red Sox trade deadline review. Craig Breslow explains limited activity. The MLB trade deadline has come and gone, leaving fans of the Boston Red Sox wondering why their team didn't make more moves to bolster their roster. With just two additions, starter Dustin and reliever Matz, Red Sox executive Craig Breslow is under the microscope. But here's where it gets interesting. Breslow claims the team tried to be aggressive, but ultimately came up short. In a press conference less than 90 minutes after the deadline passed, Breslow explained that the Red Sox had acted aggressively to the point of being uncomfortable. However, they just weren't able to pull off any additional or greater transactions. "I understand the frustration and disappointment," Breslow told reporters. "There's not a lot of sympathy for how hard we tried to get deals across the line." One reason for the Red Sox's limited activity might be the quieter-than-expected starting pitchers market. Big names like Mitch Keller, Sandy Alcantara, Eduardo Cabrera, and Zach Gallen all stayed put despite rumors of potential trades. Even Joe Ryan, who was linked to the Red Sox in rumors leading up to the deadline, remained with his current team. But while the Red Sox were quiet, their top competitors for a playoff spot were busy making upgrades to their rosters. The New York Yankees added a new third baseman and several notable relievers, while the Seattle Mariners snagged two of the top hitters on the market. The Texas Rangers also beefed up their rotation and bullpen, leaving the Red Sox looking like they're standing still. So, can the Red Sox overcome their sluggish deadline to hold on to or improve their postseason positioning? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, if they don't, Breslow's deadline approach and explanation will be under scrutiny heading into the offseason. Was Breslow's strategy too cautious? Or did the team simply not have the right opportunities? Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Red Sox did enough to compete? Or did they miss their chance to make a big impact? Red Sox trade deadline moves. Dustin, Matz. What comes next? Red Sox trade deadline passes with more whimper than bang. What's next? The trade deadline for the Red Sox has come and gone with a sense of unfulfilled potential. While the organization did secure Dodgers right-hander Dustin to bolster their rotation and added depth with left-handed reliever Matz, fans and insiders alike were left waiting for a blockbuster move that never materialized. The pursuit of Minnesota Twins all-star Joe Ryan created momentary excitement within the organization, with some officials believing a deal might actually happen. But as the clock ticked down, Ryan remained in Minnesota. In fact, he didn't move anywhere. And here's where it gets interesting. If the ultimate prize this deadline was supposed to be a controllable top-tier starting pitcher, then every team across the league fell short of that goal. Against this backdrop of league-wide restraint, Red Sox personnel expressed satisfaction with their modest acquisitions, even though this year's moves mirror last season's underwhelming additions of James Paxton, Lucas Sims, and Luis Garcia, none of whom made significant contributions to the team's success. "I believe we've improved," Red Sox manager Alex Cora stated, having previously suggested that the team's post-All-Star break struggles in recent years were connected to cautious deadline approaches. This team differs substantially from the previous three. We're more complete, our pitching has improved, and our bullpen is in excellent condition. Shortstop Trevor Story echoed the sentiment. "Everyone always looks for that exciting, headline-grabbing trade. But I think we're actually happier that we kept our core intact. All our key pieces remain, and we've simply added to that foundation." It's more about recognizing that the guys in this clubhouse got us to this point, and we know what we're capable of achieving. However, there's no disguising the reality of what happened leading up to the deadline. The Red Sox aimed higher but couldn't land their targets. They wanted Ryan but couldn't secure him. They sought offensive reinforcements but came up empty-handed. Baltimore's first baseman, Ryan O'Hearn, had been on their radar, but he became part of the Padres' aggressive acquisition spree. Meanwhile, Boston made fewer and arguably less impactful moves than any of the 7 top American League contenders, division leaders Toronto, Detroit, and Houston, followed by the tightly packed group of the Yankees, Boston, Seattle, and Texas. The Yankees, who stockpiled bullpen arms, and Tigers, adding both rotation and bullpen depth, each acquired 7 major league players in the week before the deadline. The Mariners, who supercharged their offense with Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor, Astros, Carlos Correa, and Rangers, Merrill Kelly, considered the top starting pitcher to change teams. Each added 3 players. The Blue Jays, Shane Bieber, something of an unknown quantity as he recovers from Tommy John surgery, but with potential to anchor a postseason rotation, and Red Sox, each added just 2. Based on deals completed and opportunities missed, it appears the Red Sox maintain a more conservative approach to deadline transactions than their rivals, particularly regarding short-term rentals. The Rangers' acquisition of Kelly for 3 highly regarded prospects illustrates this contrast. Texas secured a pitcher almost certainly destined for their postseason rotation if they reach the playoffs. May offers no such guarantees for Boston. But this is the part most people miss. It's possible to overstate the impact of deadline moves. Despite all the attention July 31st transactions receive, playoff races are more significantly defined by a team's established core. Nevertheless, the shifting postseason probabilities before and after the deadline activity tell a fascinating story. The Mariners kicked things off by acquiring Naylor on July 24th. According to Fangraphs, their playoff odds increased from 71% on the morning of July 23rd to 76% on August 1st. The day after the deadline, their World Series chances improved from 5 to 7%. Between strong performances and deadline acquisitions, the Rangers saw their postseason odds climb from 32% to 40%. As for the Red Sox, their chances of reaching the postseason jumped from 43% on the morning of July 23rd to 62% on August 1st, a 19% increase, representing the largest improvement in the American League during that period. This surge reflects how winning 5 of 7 games significantly impacted their October prospects. I suppose this year's deadline resembles last year's in some ways, Story reflected. But I think our current playing style and approach is different, so we're not lamenting that we should have added more or dwelling on what might have been. The players who will get the job done are the ones already here. We faced skepticism throughout the season, so doubt about our deadline moves will just serve as additional motivation. We genuinely believe we can succeed, and we've added 2 more players to help us achieve that goal. Now, everything related to the deadline maneuvering becomes irrelevant. It falls to the players to demonstrate whether the current roster configuration is sufficient to propel the team into the playoffs for the first time since 2021. It's August 1st. Everything regarding the deadline is behind us, Cora emphasized. We have an opportunity to accomplish something special this year in the wildcard race and the division. Looking at the Green Monster scoreboard, we're in 3rd place, 5 games back, so we feel confident we can compete with any team and have a legitimate chance to win the division. Time and the performance of the existing roster will ultimately provide the answer. Do you think the Red Sox made enough moves to secure a playoff spot? Or should they have been more aggressive at the deadline? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Alex Spear can be reached at alex.spear@globe.com. Follow him at Alex Spear. Craig Breslow on trade deadline frustrations. What went wrong for the Red Sox? Imagine this. The Boston Red Sox, one of baseball's storied franchises, found themselves at the trade deadline with a chance to make a significant splash. But despite their efforts, they came away with just a left-handed reliever, Steven Matz, and a right-handed starter, Dustin May. This outcome left many fans feeling frustrated and disappointed. So, what happened? Why didn't the Red Sox land a bigger fish to help secure their playoff push? On the day following the MLB trade deadline, Craig Breslow, the Red Sox's chief baseball officer, addressed the fan base directly. He acknowledged the understandable frustration, explaining that everyone was focused on the trades made, and those that weren't, during the final hours. "I understand the frustration and the disappointment," Breslow said. "We're all looking back on the last week, seeing the trades that were made and those that weren't. There's not a lot of sympathy for how hard we tried to close deals. I get that. Breslow emphasized that the Red Sox had a young, exciting, and talented team capable of making the playoffs. Their focus remained on improving for the current season, 2025, rather than looking too far ahead to 2026 or 2027. The Red Sox had several assets available for trading, including high-level contributors like Jarren Duran and a pool of promising prospects in their robust farm system. Even if key players such as Roman Anthony were considered off-limits, the team could have offered prospects like Franklin Arias or Christian Campbell to attract a significant player with years of team control, like Joe Ryan from the Minnesota Twins. However, despite being linked to Ryan in the final moments of the deadline, no deal materialized beyond the acquisition of Matz and May. Breslow clarified that the team had actively pursued impactful opportunities, emphasizing that their efforts were not hindered by reluctance or a conservative mindset. We pursued a number of really impactful opportunities, he said. Not all of them worked out. It wasn't a lack of trying to be as aggressive as possible or an unwillingness to get uncomfortable. Ultimately, it took two teams agreeing on the deal. While Breslow confirmed that the Red Sox were open to trading prospects, they were cautious about sacrificing big league players like Duran and Wilyer Abreu, who were seen as vital to the 2025 outlook. The team believed that maintaining their current roster strength was crucial for the upcoming playoff push. We weren't willing to risk our major league team and potentially impact the 2025 season in favor of trying to repackage or repurpose in a way that might have improved the future, Breslow explained. There weren't really opportunities to both trade off our major league team and improve our 2025 outlook. So we felt it was best to leave that group as it was and use our strong and deep system to try to improve the team. As of Thursday night, the Red Sox stood at 59-51, second in the AL wildcard race. Despite missing out on a blockbuster trade for the fourth consecutive deadline, the team remained optimistic about their chances, relying on the current roster to push through the final months of the season. In summary, the Red Sox faced challenges aligning with other teams on potential trades, particularly for high-impact players. Their strategy centered on balancing immediate needs with long-term prospects, ultimately prioritizing the health and performance of their existing roster. So, what do you think? Was the Red Sox approach justified, or should they have been more willing to part with their prospects? Share your thoughts in the comments below.